so far seem unfazed by the assassination attempt this weekend and all the follow-up on it. They're showing a nice positive direction this morning, which could bode well for Tesla. And there's other things that are boding well for Tesla. We've got Mr. Beast giving away 10 Cybertrucks to some of the lucky followers of some YouTube influencers. He had, I guess, 50, I'm going to be wrong on this. I think it's 50 YouTube influencers who are vying for these 10 Cybertrucks. And if they won, then they would be able to give away one of those Cybertrucks to one of their followers. So the combination of these influencers is 1 billion followers. And the video itself already has 50 million views. And, the number is going to be obviously extremely big as to how many people are involved in this giveaway of these 10 Cybertrucks. But then Tesla doesn't do any advertising. They don't do any promotion. They don't do anything that would get their products in front of the consumer. All right. So the other big news today is that Elon endorsed Trump, and that's important for us to know. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. Knowing that he did this is going to be offensive to some, okay? And there's going to be some people. I got an email from one person today who said that they're not going to buy any Tesla products ever again because of his decision to endorse and maybe has given money to Trump. But you just got to keep in mind, it's probably going to work the other way too. There's a whole bunch of Republicans and conservatives and middle-of-the-road people out there who might have been unhappy with Elon in the past because of the green thing, blah, 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 et cetera, that might be saying, well, time to give Musk another look if he's going to actually endorse Trump. So it works both ways. If you want to look at the economics of it, if you want to look at the business side of it, that's what I'm trying to do here. That is going to be important to the future. Yeah, that's pretty much all the news that we had on Tesla today, because guess what? The news was a little bit filled up with other stuff going on right now, going into some other things too. I think the soccer games are already going with regard to the Olympics, and there's all kinds of other stuff going on. So this, by the way, Randy Kirk, hit the like, hit subscribe, hit notify, all that jazz. And of course, tomorrow, we've got Brian White on as usual, and Larry Goldberg will be on for good news at the end of the day. And then joining Patreon will be fantastic. And then I'll talk to you in a minute about a couple of videos that I did earlier today that you may want to go back and look at if you haven't looked at them already. I think you'll be a little bit, well, maybe you've already seen them, but I'll certainly let you know about them. All right, so Goldman Sachs, it says these are earnings reports coming out this week. We are now hitting the really serious beginning of earnings season. We had a few banks on last Friday that had earnings, and it was mixed. We got Goldman Sachs is going to give their report before the bell tomorrow morning. Morgan Stanley, Bank of America will post their results on Tuesday. Johnson & Johnson, outside the banking world, United Airlines and Netflix will also release earnings later this week. So this will begin to give us, and there'll be smaller companies too, will begin to get a little bit of the flavor of how this earnings season is going to run. And what will I be looking at? And what would I be looking at if I were you? I'd be looking at their guidance way more than their earnings. Earnings are great, and you want to know that. You want to see if they're beating last quarter, et cetera, et cetera. But what is their guidance looking like? What is Coca-Cola going to say now that Pepsi's down 4%? Is Coca-Cola similarly down 4%? That'll give us a big clue once we get to Coca-Cola's earnings. All right. Okay, the other thing, of course, we got coming up this week is a lot of reports. This is what we do on Sunday night on our Monday morning show. And the first one is going to be the Empire State Manufacturing Survey. It was down 6% last month. Manufacturing, no matter what anybody says, is in a slump. There's no doubt about it. Continues to be in a slump. Down 6% last month. Folks that were polled said they think it'll be down 6% again. 6.0. Yeah, that's right. Down 6%. All right. Then we have Chairman Powell will be speaking at noon on Monday, and that is always a potential market mover. We'll see what he has to say. I think a lot of people will be expecting him to be showing some dovishness, beginning to point us toward the first reduction. More and more, well, a lot of people, over 90% of those polled, think that he's going to reduce interest rates in September. I still think that's a long shot, but things could change if the data comes in the right direction. Tuesday in the morning, we've got U.S. retail sales. Last month, those were up 0.1%. They are expecting those to be down 0.2%. And then retail sales minus autos last month was down 0.1%. And this time they're expecting that to be up 0.1%, which would suggest they think autos is really not doing well. Then you've got the import price index. Last month, that was down 0.4%. That was really, really good news. This month, they're expecting it to be down 0.1%. We'll see. That would be, again, continuation of good news. And then they have another import price index, which is minus fuel. Last month, that was down 0.3%, but they're not giving us a number on that one this particular time. We'll see what happens as we get into Tuesday. Then we've also on Tuesday, we've got business inventories. That was up 0.3% last month, suggesting that folks are not selling them through, and the retail numbers above would suggest that. Now they're saying up 0.5%. That might be reflecting a lot of automobiles that are sitting in lots based on the fact that sounds like they don't expect auto sales to be very good. Home builder confidence also comes in. Last month, that was at 43, not a good number. They're expecting that to tick up to 44. That would still not be a good number. I'm always more interested on home builder confidence as to why. What are they saying about the markets and the directionality? If they have interest rates coming down, obviously that could start to change. Some articles I mentioned to you last week suggest that it's not that there isn't demand for housing, it's that they're building the wrong price category, and they need to start building more in the price categories where people are actually interested in buying. Now that could change as interest rates come down. It could flip around. On Wednesday morning, we get housing starts. Speaking of housing, last month it was at the 1.28 million rate. They're thinking that'll go up to 1.3 million. That would be a good number. That would be positive. It's not a great number, but it would be a positive thing for it to be going up a little bit. Building permits, last month 1.39. That's an annualized rate. 1.39 is what they're thinking it'll be again. Industrial production, last month that was up 0.9. And this month they're thinking it'll be up another 0.2. So industrial production is similar to manufacturing, but slightly different. But if it was up another 0.2 this month, that would be a pleasant surprise for that sector. Capacity utilization last month was 78.7. They're thinking which is an okay number. We'd really like to see it more like 79 to 80. But they're thinking that'll drop down to 78.4. Are they thinking that the efficiency is going to be great, and that's why industrial production will be up, but the capacity will be down? I don't quite get that one. Then on Wednesday afternoon, we have the Fed beige book, so we'll be talking about that Thursday morning, or maybe Thursday afternoon with Wednesday afternoon with Jeff Lutz. We might go over the Fed beige book. That's a really important aspect. It's usually completely wrong, but it's really interesting sometimes to see what they're saying. Then on Thursday, we get the initial jobless claims. Last month, that was at 222,000. They're thinking that'll pop up to 228. If we're going to get that decrease in the Fed rates, we're going to need to see some higher than that. We're going to need to see them in the 230s and even the 240s. Philadelphia Fed manufacturing survey comes in also on Thursday morning. Last month, it was at 1.3, up 1.3. This time they're saying it might be up 2.9. So the Philadelphia manufacturing survey, they're doing way better in that region than the New York folks are. Typically, Chicago also has been negative. Anyway, we'll see if Philadelphia continues to be strong. U.S. leading economic indicators, the famous and important, and everybody cared about it for years, will be coming in on Thursday. Also, last month it was down 0.5. They're thinking it'll be down 0.3 again. It has been down, I don't know, like every month for couple of years. Maybe there was 1 or 2 months in there that it wasn't. So this would, again, we'll go into depth on that one, even though apparently nobody cares about it anymore, but there's a lot of great stats in there that should be, it should be ways that we're able to judge the economy. And so the recession that this would be predicting just fails to arrive. Although I think we might be already in it. Well, yeah, we're in July now, so that would be third quarter. I'm thinking third quarter is definitely negative. Okay, then Friday, New York President Williams and Atlanta Fed President Rafael Bostic both speak. That is the only thing happening on Friday. All right, so where does that mean? Where are we sitting with the markets? As I mentioned earlier, markets appear to be, going up tomorrow. We've got the 10-year bond up down an entire, what difference does it make? Call it unchanged, down 1/10 of 1 basis point. We have got the 2-year down 0.3 of 1 basis point, and we've got the 2-month down 0.2. So all of them right about in the same area. And we're continuing to see that inversion. I'm not going to report the 2-month anymore. It's too crazy. I mean, it's 120 different, almost 120 basis points difference, but the 2-year is now down to 27 and holding, really solidly at 27. So interesting to see if we get a break below that. So then we go to the oils. Oil basically also unchanged, down 0.12, 82.11 for Texas Intermediate, 84.93. Again, under $3 there in the difference. That is really surprising me. Natural gas down 2.96% at 2.26. That is now starting to get down in the lower end of its range. Really interesting. Gold down $8.10 or 0.33% at 24.12, still staying way up there in its at the high end, very close to its all-time high. Somebody sent me a note in the comments that if you take into consideration inflation, we'd have to be over 3,000, but we don't take that into consideration when we're looking at gold and the commodities in general. They don't do it based on inflation. Silver is down 1% at $30.82. Again, way over $30 now at this point and near its all-time high. Copper down 0.62 at 4.56, kind of in the middle of that recent range. Bitcoin up today, 20. People are saying that it's a place where people go for safety, but they're not fleeing to gold for safety, and they're not fleeing to the dollar for safety, and they're not fleeing to bonds for safety. So I don't know if this is a flight to safety or something entirely different, but back over 60,000 at 60,902. And then the yen is high because they're expecting intervention. The euro is down a bit. Now the equities, we've got the Dow up 53 or 0.13%. We've got the S&P up 6.75 or 0.12%, very, very close. NASDAQ up even more on a percentage basis, up 0.18% or 3650, but all up and solidly up and have been up every time I've looked in the last hour or so. So we're looking at probably a good opening tomorrow morning. Now, let me tell you, besides hitting like and subscribe and notify, what did I do today? Well, this morning I did a video that is continuing to rock. I did a little explanation of what I think happened in the assassination attempt. Spoiler alert, I believe it was an inside job. I believe that there's not a possibility in the world that this individual could have just walked up to that roof and taken a shot without somebody giving him a clear path and letting him know that there would be a clear path. He wouldn't have even bothered to go there if he didn't think he had a clear path, because if I think about the setting, I wouldn't, even if I wanted to do the deed, I think about the setting. I go, well, what chance do I have? Not a chance in the world. And then to go to the right building that didn't have any coverage. Anyway, that's kind of the rough idea. But if you want to go watch it, I'll put it right there. And then Larry and I finally were able to do the Cathie Wood story, the Cathie Wood monthly report. We did that earlier today also, and I'll put that card up here as well. It was according to the commentary that I'm seeing, it was one of our best. So you might want to go take a look at that. All right. Joining Patreon would be the patriotic thing to do. Patriotic Patreons. And this is Randy Kirk. It's been great talking to you.